สถานีวิทยุสรานรม AM1575 การทูตเพื่อประชาชน
เพื่อไทยก้าวไกลทันโลก
Good morning. Welcome to saranrom radio, AM1575 kHz. This is 5:30 program, 5:30 to 6 a.m. Welcome to the show. My name is Pim Chanok, Jirapatnakul, but you can call me Anne. I'm covering for my colleague who is currently not available to host this program because he has a commitment, an official commitment elsewhere. Today, well, this is my first time hosting the program, so if anything, please bear with me, and I'll try my best to entertain and to help. I hope that you enjoy my show. Today, I'm going to talk about my experience. Last year, at the end of last year, I had an opportunity to participate in a UN fellowship program on disarmament. And in this program, they took us around the world, luckily, and one of the places that impressed me the most that I visited was Semipalatinsk in Kazakhstan. Let me first tell you a bit about the fellowship program. This fellowship program was established by the United Nations. The very first program, the very first year of this program was, I believe, 45 years ago. The purpose of this program is to educate diplomats and government officials around the world on disarmament in all kinds of weapons, which include nuclear weapons, biological weapons, chemical weapons, and also conventional weapons. I participated in the program as a representative from the Thai government, and it was I participated in the program from end of August 2015 until the end of October 2015. We travel around the world, as I said. We started at the UN office in Geneva. We went on from Geneva to I forgot. We went on from Geneva to the Hague, the Netherlands. From The Hague, the Netherlands, we went on to Berlin. From Berlin, we went to Vienna in Austria. Why Vienna? Because that's where the IAEA, or the International Atomic Energy Agency, is situated. From Vienna, then we went on to Beijing, China, and from Beijing, China, we went to Kazakhstan to visit this nuclear test site. And from Kazakhstan, we continue on to Japan to visit Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Of course, the only two cities in the world that suffered from a nuclear explosion during the war, the World War II, to be exact. And from that, I went on to New York, United States, and that finished the program. So I was very lucky, one of the 25 individuals that participated in the program last year. This program, before I start talking about my experience in Kazakhstan, this program actually they accept applications every year, and every year 25 diplomats and government officials around the world, one from each country that are selected, would be traveling around the world. Pretty much similar set of countries that they visit in every year. So okay, so why Kazakhstan? Why of all the destinations I picked Kazakhstan that I went to? So first of all, I have to admit that before I went to Kazakhstan, is actually the destination that I least look forward to. I did not think I would enjoy Kazakhstan as much as other places that we were touring, and it's just a country that I could not even imagine. What am I going to see in Kazakhstan? What is the food going to be like? What's the what do I expect from Kazakhstan? I don't speak the language. They don't speak English. And on top of that, to travel from where we land, which is Astana, the capital in Kazakhstan, to the nuclear test site, we had to take the train for 15 hours. So nothing that we look forward, there's nothing enjoyable about this trip that I would look forward to. But at the end of the day, at the end of the trip, this is actually where I was most impressed. So let me talk a little bit about the destination in Kazakhstan, the nuclear test site. So as I said, this is the UN fellowship that focuses on on disarmament of all kinds of weapons. One of the most dangerous weapons that we face in the world that no one would hope that it would be used again is nuclear weapons. This test site used to belong to the Soviet Federation. The Soviet Union, not the Soviet Federation. The Soviet Union, when Soviet occupied the land of Kazakhstan and the surrounding countries like Uzbekistan, etc. This test site was monitored and managed and used by the Soviet Union at the time. It hosted more than 600 nuclear explosions. And the impact of those nuclear explosions, the impact of those on the land, on the environment is unimaginable. When we visit the place, the land, the air, and the water were still completely untouchable, undrinkable. So when we visit the test site, each of us had to wear the bag over our shoes, because our actual shoes cannot touch the actual land of the nuclear test site. Otherwise, it will be contaminated with radiation. So that's just an overview of what the test site is like. Let me start with, first minute when we land in Astana. So we land in Astana, all 25 of us, plus we call it our teacher, but he's actually the program coordinator. And from the airport, we actually went on to the train station directly, and then we took a 15-hour ride in the train station. Excellent team building experience. If you and 10 other people don't know each other, this is a great opportunity to know each other very well. 15 hours in the train, that's basically some bonding opportunity can happen. So we took the train for 15 hours. We got to the town at 4 a.m. in the morning. It was minus 10 Celsius, and we were ushered to our accommodation. Unfortunately, Semipalatinsk, or the town that is called Kushatov, does not have any working hotel, or they only have 2 restaurants, if I can recall. Since there's no hotel, we all stayed at this abandoned hospital that was converted into an accommodation for some occasional visitors like us, or like the inspectors from the Nuclear Atomic Energy Agency. So we stayed briefly from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. at that abandoned hospital that were converted into guest rooms. After that, we were ushered to the nuclear test site. The nuclear test site is actually it's very big. There are areas, we call it, I'm going to call it 3 layers of area: the outer layer, the middle layer, and the inner layer. The outer layers are about 200 square kilometers, and they just look empty. It just look like grasses, fields, and there may be some horses roaming around, but nothing much. All that you could see are some destroyed buildings, and they're not buildings that were used for any actual purposes. There were buildings that the team at the time, the nuclear test team, built so that they could evaluate the impact of the nuclear explosion. So those buildings situated more than 2 kilometers from the epicenter, and by epicenter I mean the very center of nuclear explosion. 2 kilometers from the epicenter, the building was basically only half of the building was left, and the inside the building completely destroyed. So that's the extent of the damage, 2 kilometers from the center. And then we took a bus and went on to the middle layer of the test site. The middle layers of the test site exhibit more of a damage. By more of a damage, I mean I didn't see much. And the reason why I didn't see much was because anything that was built there was completely destroyed. Maybe a little bit of, remnants of buildings are left, playgrounds, train tracks, but there was really nothing much to see. And from the second layer, we went to the inner layer, the innermost layer, or the epicenter. And that is where the actual nuclear explosion, the center of that took place. The center of the nuclear explosion, it looks this is going to be very ironic, but I have to say it looks very beautiful. And why is that? Because the nuclear test site, the center of it is a lake. And why is it a lake? It's because the explosion creates so much power that it creates a crater like well inside the land, and over time after that it rained and rained and rained, and so it collected water, so it became a lake. So when you go there, if you don't know it's the used to be nuclear test site, you will see this beautiful lake, and there's nothing of construction for as far as your eyes can see. You would think this is such beautiful nature, but in fact those were created by the fact that they tested nuclear so many times, 600 times I believe. And we were told not to bring any valuable down from the bus because if we drop anything on the ground at the epicenter, it will stay there forever. Why? Because the nuclear radiation is so severe that if you drop anything on the ground, it will be completely contaminated and you're not allowed to bring it back to the city. So that's the extent of the destruction that it creates, and that was 50-60 years ago, and it still continues on to this date. So we'll take a little break, and I will come back and tell you more about the town itself and my experience in Kazakhstan. Welcome back to Radio Saranrom AM with 1575 kHz, and I'm Pim Chanok. I would continue with my program, introducing you to my Kazakhstan trip and telling you more about my trip and why and the purpose of this trip to Kazakhstan. So we went to Kazakhstan for 3 days. We land in Astana. We took a 15-hour train to Semipalatinsk. We stayed there for 1 night, and we came back to Astana, and then we flew off to Japan. Why did we spend so little time there? It took so long for us to get there. But we only spent about at most 7 or 8 hours in Semipalatinsk. One reason was because this trip was supposedly a 4-day trip to start with. However, due to a time constraint and a budget constraint, we could not spend more time there. And secondly, there was some safety concern about spending too much time on the nuclear test site, and that we would receive too much radiation, so they had to cut the trip short at the nuclear test site. Which brings us to the point, if nuclear weapons, nuclear radiation is so important, is so dangerous, why are there so many nuclear facilities in the world? Why are countries still using nuclear technology in their applications, such as scientific applications, such as nuclear power plants? There are several applications of nuclear technology, such as nuclear power plant, medical isotopes. Also, in some industry, nuclear technology can be used to preserve foods. If, believe it or not, some of our agricultural products from Thailand cannot be exported to some countries, such as the United States, unless it's been radiated from some radiation for preservation purposes. This is a great benefit. I would say, of nuclear technology. However, the nuclear technology is like a double-edged sword, as I had said before, that if there is any leak radiation, it would also create such a devastating catastrophe and destruction, like when you had witnessed in Chernobyl, nuclear power plant accident, and also at the Semipalatinsk test site that I actually had to admit this myself. So should we be scared? Should we be afraid of nuclear technology? Should we completely abolish nuclear technology? Should we completely prevent that from happening in Thailand, the nuclear power plant? Should we tell the government no to nuclear power plant? Several people have several opinions, and in my opinion, I would say that as long as we have good nuclear safety measures, as long as we can make sure we can ensure that nuclear technology will be safe and secured and will not be diverted for malicious purposes, if we can make sure that that happens, then we need not be scared of applying nuclear technology. Another plus of nuclear technology when it comes to producing power is that it emits zero carbon emission. What does that mean? It means that the greenhouse gas, the carbon dioxide, the carbon monoxide that is released as a result of coal power production, as a result of power production from any other source of power, will be diminished and eliminated completely. So that's pretty much a benefit that nuclear technology can contribute to the environment. But we need to be very careful. I'm not so much advocating for nuclear technology as long as we cannot ensure that the nuclear industry is going to be safe and secure. So we need to keep that in mind. Can we trust our government to run this industry in safely and securely fashion? I think that is the question that we need to ask ourselves. However, currently there are many useful applications of nuclear technology that we may or may not be aware of. For example, I don't know if you notice when you go to a hospital these days, when you go into an X-ray, there may be some machines that actually use some sort of a radiation to detect cancer and to cure cancer. So that, I think, those technologies are actually something that we need to keep and we need to enhance and keep developing their applications. So, which brings me to my last point. What about nuclear weapons? As we all know, there are 5 countries that we know for sure that are possessing nuclear weapons. What about them? Why are they owning nuclear weapons if the result of using nuclear weapons are so catastrophic or so devastating? That might be my next thesis on my next show. I think I'm going to talk about the consequences of owning nuclear weapons and why we need to work together as an international community to stop the countries that are owning nuclear weapons from keeping the nuclear weapons with them. And do you know which are the countries, before I finish, are actually countries that possess nuclear weapons? So there are 5 countries that we know for real that possess nuclear weapons. Those are the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Russia, and lastly, China. There have also been some claims by the North Korea, also by India, Pakistan, and Israel, that they also possess nuclear weapons. So these are the countries that actually own the most dangerous nuclear weapons, more dangerous than nuclear power plants, I would say, because these nuclear weapons are designed to annihilate and destroy their opponents. So that will be the topic of my next program. And when I come and see you again in this program, my topic will be why are countries still owning nuclear weapons and how can we get rid of them. Thank you very much.